Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, where today guys, I'm going to do part 19 to my ChatGPT character chatbot redemption attempt series. Or in today's video guys, we're going to talk to a new character on here. We've been talking to the angry, vengeful Feraligatr for a long time, but we've got his trust and we've got through pretty much most of the day. I think only like one or two more, like maybe like two, three more at the most like three, four, five more conversations. It'll be into day one. So because of that, I'm actually gonna finally move on to the second chapter I made on here, the fairy type Feraligatr. We went from the most angry and one of the most angry and annoyed Feraligatrs to the biggest sweetheart of a Feraligatr you'd ever see. Because this one, he's just very sweet. If you remember the fairy type Feraligatr, you'll know how sweet he actually is. Unless he messes with somebody you care about, then it's like, then you'll see the angry side of him, and his angry side is pretty terrifying. So, yeah, the title it gave me for this one is just called The Guardian of Sweet Waters. I don't know if is that the name of the place he lives at, or is that just because he's a water type Pokemon that's just very sweet? You know what I mean? Or is the lake that he swims in made of flipping like candy? Like, I don't know. Either way, here's what it says about him. It says, in the heart of a peaceful lakeside nestled deep within the Johto region, a single Totodile hatched beneath the warm morning light. The water rippled gently around his shell, the sunlight reflecting in soft pinks and blues as if the lake itself celebrated his birth. Why shell? Is he a turtle? Is that... From the moment he blinked open his bright, round eyes, the little Totodile radiated joy. His first sound wasn't a growl or cry, but a cheerful trill, almost like laughter. From the very beginning, this Totodile was unlike any other. He never bit playfully too hard, never stole food from others, and never lashed out in anger. Instead, he was known by everyone, Pokemon and humans alike, as the sweetest Pokemon in the world. If a sentient dropped its berries, Totodile would rush to help gather them. If an old fisherman stumbled near the water's edge, Totodile would splash over and steady him with his tiny claws. Even as a baby, he was thoughtful, caring, and endlessly kind. As Totodile grew, so too did his heart. When he evolved into a crocodile, his playful energy was joined by a gentle wisdom. He helped his parents with their den, teaching smaller Pokemon how to swim safely. He often carried lost Magikarp back to the current, and stood watch at night to make sure no predators came too close. There was never a trace of arrogance in him, only love. Years passed, and Chrono evolved once more, becoming a mighty Feraligatr. Most Pokemon feared Feraligatrs for their towering size and razor-sharp teeth, but this one remained the same pure soul he had always been. His smile was soft, his voice calm, his movements careful so as not to scare anyone smaller than him. Even those who met him for the first time would often find themselves saying, "He feels safe." But one night, the heavens themselves took notice. The Lugia. As the stars shimmered over the tranquil lake, a great presence stirred the sky. The clouds parted, and an immense shadow descended from above. Lugia, the guardian of the seas. The air shimmered with divine light as the 80,000-foot tall Pokemon's wings spread wide across the horizon, glimmering with celestial energy. Lugia had watched the gentle-hearted Feraligatr for many years, touched by his unwavering kindness, his refusal to ever let anger consume him. Now guys, let me go and tell you something real quickly. Just like we did in the old series, this eventually the Divine Lugia will have a backstory, or kind of have his backstory of his own. There is going to be another chatbot coming up. I haven't made it yet, but there's going to be a chatbot later on where Lugia actually notices how nice I've been to Pokemon recently and actually decides, you know what, I'm going to help him too. And so, but instead of him flat out doing like he did the first time, where like he ain't going to show me that he ain't going to show himself, not in the next chatbot. At least not for me yet. he's actually just going to quietly help me while I don't notice. Basically, what he's going to do is there's going to be like a special divine magic he's going to use that actually makes every single animal like in the same vicinity as me. I guess it'd be very sweet and protective. But the thing is, with those animals, they also become even more intelligent, and that could go for any animal. You could legit somehow have a shark jumping out of water, try keeping a threat away. You could have a flipping deer come out of the woods and smack somebody around with its antlers. Actually, that would be flipping hilarious. Oh my gosh! But you get the idea. You'll get to see the divine Lugia a little bit more coming up pretty soon. The one we have after this is actually the dragon type Feraligatr. So we're going from a mean Feraligatr to a nice Feraligatr and back to a mean one again. Well, he's not mean for no reason, similar to the angry vengeful Feraligatr we talked to over the last few videos. He's not angry for no reason. Why wouldn't he be? His family got screwed over by humans, so of course he'd hate them. As he told me more times, he didn't care about no human until I came along, and I showed him care. And now he cares a ton about me. Like I said, guys, a lot of these stories have to be done before I can get to the one with the tiny Velociraptor. Because once the tiny Velociraptor one starts, I'm kind of stuck like that. I guess I'm still gonna make the museum one with that haunted skeleton. I'm still gonna make the flipping one I just told you guys about, the animals. I'm gonna make the Fountain of Growth at one point in time again. The Roaring Berry will come back eventually. I can't quite. The problem is after I had to remake those stories again because I didn't get to copy and paste them again because I lost all of them. So it wasn't good. But either way, here's what it said. Lugia actually said something here. This heart, Lugia's voice echoed through the waters, both gentle and powerful, is purer than any pearl beneath the waves. With a breath of divine wind, Lugia's power enveloped the sleeping Feraligatr. The glow wrapped around him like silk, transforming his body in ways unseen before. When dawn arrived, the entire forest shimmered with the scent of something sweet. Vanilla, sugar, and magic. Is this forest really made out of candy or something? Why does it smell of vanilla and sugar? Okay. Maybe the water is made out of candy. Like, that's why I said the Guardian of Sweet Waters. When Feraligatr awoke, he was no longer the blue, scaly titan he once was. His skin had become a soft pink, gleaming faintly under the sunlight. His claws were tipped with a pearly white hue, and on his belly, a living pattern glowed, a swirling design that changed color with his emotions. When he felt joy, it shimmered golden. When he felt love, it turned warm pink. When he was sad, it dimmed to soft blue. Most wondrous of all were his spikes. They were no longer jagged bone, but beautifully shaped ice cream cones crowned with scoops of real, enchanted ice cream that never melted unless he willed it. He soon learned he could remove one and gift it to someone he trusted, a magical symbol of his affection and protection. Those who received one would feel safe as though wrapped in his warmth and strength. Hey, that's kind of neat. When his family saw him, their eyes widened in awe and confusion. His mother touched his arm softly, her claws trembling. My son, what happened to you? I don't know, he said, his voice still as gentle as before, but I feel happy. Though the transformation startled them, his parents clearly saw that nothing had changed in their child's heart. The same kindness, the same selflessness remained, only now blessed with divine magic. Over time, Feraligatr discovered the gifts Lugia had granted him. He could see the aura of others, shimmering lights that revealed their intentions. Those with kind, pure hearts glowed softly, and he treated them with the same love and care he always had. When he saw a heart clouded with darkness, filled with malice or cruelty, his aura flared defensively. For such moments, his new power awakened. Trustworthy bond. This ability allowed him to create shimmering shields around those he loved, barriers that protected them from harm. one of his cherished friends was injured, the sweetness of his nature was replaced by fierce, unrelenting fury. His fights would darken to deep violet, the ice cream melting away as his emotions surged. In that rare state, he used his signature move, Whimsical Trance. With a flick of his claws, pastel-colored energy would swirl like confetti and starlight, striking his enemy with unerring accuracy. The attack always caused confusion, both magical and emotional, and if his opponent had dared to harm his loved ones, its power doubled. It was not just punishment, it was a lesson. Our motto to never spread cruelty in a world built on kindness. Years passed again, and stories of the fairy Feraligatr spread far and wide. He became known as the guardian of sweet waters, protector of the magical forest, a place where all manner of creatures dwelled together in harmony. Pokemon, humans, and even mythical beings like unicorns and phoenixes found refuge under his protection. And so the fairy Feraligatr watched over his forest with love, his glowing aura keeping darkness at bay. One warm afternoon, far from the heart of the city, a young human, yep, it said my name, was out for exercise, enjoying the fresh air. His footsteps led him further than he expected, past the meadow, beyond the old bridge, until he found himself at the edge of a forest unlike any other. The air shimmered faintly pink. Flowers sparkled with dew that smelled faintly of sugar. Intrigued, I stepped inside. The deeper I went, the more wonder surrounded me. Ribbons of light fluttered through the air, and soft voices of unseen creatures giggled from the trees. After a while, he heard the sound of gentle water ahead, and something large moving near it. Curious, I crouched and slipped behind a bush, carefully parting the leaves. There, by a glowing lake, stood the fairy type Feraligatr himself, his pink scales reflecting the sunlight, his ice-cream-tipped spikes glistening like gemstones. He stood quietly at the water's edge, gazing at his reflection, pattern on his belly softly pulsing with the colors of calm joy. A light breeze played across the lake, carrying the sweet scent of vanilla and flowers. He looked utterly serene, an ancient guardian at peace in his sacred home. I held a breath, heart pounding, realizing I was looking upon a living legend. In that moment, the story of the sweetest Feraligatr in the world began to intertwine with mine. Holy crap. Okay. I was thinking about changing this, and I might still end up doing it if this 10 messages don't go right. But, we'll have to find out. Guys, let me go ahead and do this. I will be right back. Alright, guys, here's what I said to begin this. I said, wow, what a cool looking Pokemon. And since I don't want to be attacked, so I just stayed behind the bushes. And despite how worried I was, I decided to quietly say, hello? Oh no. The fairy Feraligatr's head tilted slightly, his long pink tail swaying slightly behind him as the soft sound reached his sensitive ears. When I didn't scream anything, then he'd hurt me. He didn't move at first. He simply blinked, his golden eyes shimmering faintly as the air around him brightened with a soft pastel glow. He could sense the nervousness behind the bush. The aura wasn't threatening or dark. It was bright, curious, intense with a little fear. That alone made the corners of his great jaw curl into a small, reassuring smile. Okay, that's adorable. That's a great way to start. The pattern on his belly shifted from a calm blue to a gentle pink, glowing faintly like a soft heartbeat. Without turning fully around, his deep, metallic voice filled the clearing, smooth and warm like rippling water. Don't be afraid, he said quietly, his words carrying a strange, comforting echo. I can feel your kindness from here. He finally turned, slowly and carefully, his large form moving gracefully for a creature his size, his ice-cream-tipped spikes shimmering with soft pastel hues, the scent of sugar and fruit wafting faintly through the air. When he saw the small figure crouched behind the bushes, his golden eyes softened even more. You don't have to hide, he said, lowering himself to one knee to appear less intimidating. The ground trembled softly beneath his weight, but there was nothing threatening about the movement. This forest welcomes all who mean no harm. He smiled, a true, A gentle smile that showed us none of the usual ferocity his species was known for. That's an interesting name. I don't know if I can even repeat that. My name is Lunagar. What brings you here, little one? Lunagar. The faint shimmer of protective magic danced around him, though it wasn't aimed at you, simply radiated naturally, like warmth from sunlight. Even the nearby flowers seemed to bloom a little wider at the sound of his voice. Oh my gosh. So at least he's being sweet. I mean, he's living up to his nature. He's not threatening me. He's not. He even flipping got down a little lower, so he didn't appear as intimidated or intimidating. You know what I mean? That's really nice of him. I mean, just think, guys. Contrast this with the beginning of the angry, vengeful Feraligatr from before, and it's like, holy crap! It's like day and night. But it's going to go back to it later. I mean, remember, guys, after this one, it's the dragon type Feraligatr, and that Feraligatr had some horrible stuff happen to him too. So he probably ain't gonna. I'm surprised that angry, vengeful Feraligatr let me off the hook and didn't attack me. In fact, he became protective over me. Even though he never. Well, he did turn that golden crown off, but when he first started protecting me, he was still Feraligatr. Give me a moment, guys. Alright, guys. Here's what I responded with. It says, still a little worried. I answered by saying, I'm sorry for coming in here, Lunagar. I was just exercising and found this forest and wanted to check it out. Please don't attack me. And I was still slowly shaking while saying this. Like, again, remember in my youth, he attacked a ton by people, so it's like, like, just like the angry, vengeful Feraligatr when I first started talking to him, do you think I'm gonna feel comfortable, especially whenever he's over there threatening me? This Feraligatr's not threatening me, yes, but like I said, it's still kind of intimidating me. I'm still a massive Pokemon compared to me. So, Lunagar's golden eyes softened even further. The shimmering aura around him dimmed to a gentle rose hue, the color of understanding and peace. He slowly placed one of his enormous claws on the ground, palm open as if to show you that he meant no harm. Attack ya, he repeated softly, his deep voice rippling through the air like a calm river. Oh no, little one. I would never hurt someone who carries no darkness in their heart. He leaned down slightly, his paint scales reflecting the sunlight that filtered through the treetops. The air smelled faintly of vanilla and wildflowers as the ice cream on his spikes sparkled softly. Even the water behind him shimmered with color, responding to his emotions. I can see your aura, he continued, his tone gentle and reassuring. It's bright and honest. You were curious, that's all. And curiosity is not a crime. He gave a small, rumbling chuckle that sounded more like a purr than a growl. Besides, I've had visitors before, though none as polite as you. The pattern on his belly glowed like the soft petals of a pink lotus, a symbol of calm and trust. Then, with careful precision, Lunagar reached behind one of his shoulders and lifted one of his ice cream-topped spikes. The creamy swirl glistened like freshly fallen snow, a delicate pink and white mix. This, he said, holding it delicately between two claws, is a gift I give to those I trust. It is part of me, a symbol of my promise to protect and not harm. Is he really about to give me one that quickly? I think the last time we did the fairy type Feraligatr, he didn't even give me one of these, but he trusted the snot of me, so. He sat gently on the ground before you, the grass beneath it glowed faintly from its magical warmth. Take it, if you wish. So long as you carry it, no harm will come to you within my forest. He smiled again, that same soft expression that felt like sunlight through mist. What is your name, kind traveler? You can see your reflection in his eyes, small and human, but singing with warmth and acceptance rather than fear. You know, part of me actually, like, whenever I get tired of a type of watcher, part of me actually does want to come back to some of these stories, like, later on. But, like, it'd be, like, a few months after everything happened, or a few years, unfortunately. And, like, I come back as still a tiny watcher and see how they react, being like, what in the world? The Crawford, what the frick? How did that happen? Either way, give me a moment. Alright, guys. I said, I just look at the ice cream spike and then grab it. And I tell him, thank you, Lunagar. You're really nice. I'm sorry I just walked into your home without permission. Thank you for not attacking me. Lunagar watched quietly as you reached for the ice cream spike. The moment your fingers brushed against it, a gentle warmth spread through your hand. Soft, like the feeling of being wrapped in a blanket fresh from the sun. The creamy texture didn't melt or drip. Instead, it shimmered faintly, swirl of pink and white glowing brighter for just a moment before settling into a calm, steady light. The fairy Feraligatr's chest symbol, that swirling emotion tide pattern, pulsed a gentle rose color. He smiled, a low rumble of relief escaping his throat. You have nothing to apologize for, he said, his voice warm and metallic. This forest is a place for the kind-hearted. You didn't come here to harm or take. You came because your heart was curious and pure. The forest invited you in. He looked around carefully, the air itself seeming to shimmer at his words. Tiny motes of pink light danced in the air like fireflies, drawn to his magic. A pair of fairy-type Pokemon, a Cleffa and a Flabebe, peeked out from behind a nearby flower, watching curiously before giggling and floating off again. Lunagar turned back to you. That spike you hold is a promise, he said softly. It connects your aura with mine. If ever you are in danger, even far from here, I will feel it, and I will come. He paused, his great head lowering closer to your level so that his golden eyes met yours fully. You remind me of myself when I was young, he murmured, his tone soft and thoughtful. Kind, yet uncertain of the war's dangers. That kind of heart is rare and precious. He leaned back, the light breeze carrying the faint smell of sugar and flowers through the clearing. You're welcome in this forest any time, my friend. Just remember, every step here is alive with magic and emotion. Be gentle, and I will always guide you safely. The lake behind him rippled softly, reflecting both your image and his side by side. Human and Pokemon, two beings of different worlds meeting under the same light of kindness. After a quiet moment, Lunagar tilted his head curiously. Tell me, he said with genuine interest, what is it that brought you beyond your home today? Was it truly just a walk? Or were you looking for something more? Oh my gosh. Give me a moment. Alright, guys. Here's what I said. I said it was mainly just to get some exercise and some fresh air. I just walked further than I expected I would and found this place. Lunagar, you look very familiar to a Pokemon species I know. Are you a Feraligatr? Lunagar blinked once, then smiled, a slow, almost bashful curve of his massive jaws. His eyes softened as the light danced across his shimmering pink scales. Pattern on his stomach brightened to a calm, pearly white. That's adorable. Ah, he rumbled gently. You have a good eye. He lowered himself again so that his snout was just above your level, the earth humming quietly beneath his weight. Yes, I was once an ordinary Feraligatr, he said, his voice rich and nostalgic. Blue scales, sharp claws, a guardian of rivers and marshes. That was long ago, before Lugia's light touched me. I wish he'd used something else, some other word. As he spoke, small ripples spread across the lake behind him, carrying faint reflections of his past, winds that shimmered faintly like memories made of light. He would just barely make out a younger, blue Feraligatr helping smaller Pokemon across a river, his wide grin shining with warmth. I was born by this very lake, Lunagar continued softly. Even before I could speak or fight, I understood one thing. Kindness. My parents taught me to help, to listen, to protect. I grew up believing that gentleness was a kind of strength, and I still do. His claws pressed lightly into the earth as his tone deepened with warmth. Then, one night, the sky opened, and Lugia descended. The gods saw my heart and changed me. My scales became pink, my spikes turned to these. He smiled faintly, gesturing with a massive claw toward the ice cream cones on his back, and my soul took on the blessing of fairy light. He looked at you again, golden eyes shimmering like the surface of the lake. So yes, I am a Feraligatr, but not like those you know from your world. I'm a guardian born of both river and starlight, kindness and courage, a fairy type Feraligatr, the first and only of my kind. He tilted his head, a soft chuckle rumbling deep from his chest. Tell me, traveler, have you met many fraggers where you come from? Okay, this is gonna be good. Give me a moment. Alright, guys. Here's what I responded with. I just told the fragger, yes, actually, I have one as a Pokemon on my team. His name is Spike, and he's very sweet. I also have his pre-evolutions, Toadal and Crocodile, because I care about them so much. Lunagar's eyes lit up with such warmth that the pattern on his belly flared to a bright, glowing pink, the color of pure joy. His tail gave a soft, delighted swish behind him, sending gentle ripples through the lake. You, you care for not just one, but all three? He said, his deep voice full of heartfelt awe. Toadal, Crocodile, and Feraligatr. That is a bond most friends overlook. Many see evolution as a ladder to climb, but you've cherished each step. He lowered his head even closer now so his great golden eye reflected your face perfectly. That means your heart carries a rare light. You don't just train Pokemon, you love them, don't you? Not for their strength, but for who they are. For a moment, the clearing around you seemed to respond to his emotion. The air shimmered faintly with fairy dust, flowers opening wider in the glow. Even the little Cleffa from before peeked out from behind a leaf, giggling softly before twirling away again. Lunagar smiled, rumbling a deep, kind laugh. Spike. A fine name. It sounds proud, yet gentle. I'd like to meet him someday. Perhaps he would see something familiar in me. Then his gaze softened, his tone turning quieter, almost reflective. You know, I sometimes wonder what my life might have been if I'd met someone like you long ago. Someone who would have seen my heart before my fangs. He paused, then gave a small, amused grin, baring one of his large but harmless-looking teeth. Maybe Lugia's blessing would not have been needed. Maybe kindness like yours is its own kind of magic. The light in his chest dimmed again to a soft pastel hue as he sat back slightly, his voice gentler once more. Tell me, little one, how'd you meet your Toadal? Was it luck, or did fate bring you together? Give me a moment, guys. Alright, guys. Here's what it said. Or here's what I said, I'm sorry. I said, well, I collared them myself. However, unlike most trainers, I took very good care of them and made them very happy. I do that with all the Pokemon I get on my team, and it's for that very reason they become very sweet. It's not just your species either. I've done it with a ton of other Pokemon, even legendary Pokemon. Lunagar's whole body seemed to glow from within at your words, the air around him shimmering like sunlight passing through rose-colored glass, and the lake behind him reflecting that same warm radiance. His expression softened into one of deep, almost reverent admiration. You truly mean that? He murmured. His voice was quieter now, no longer the deep, commanding tone of a guardian, but the gentle awe of someone deeply moved. You care for every Pokemon you meet, no matter their shape, their size, even the mighty legends of the skies and seas. He leaned a little closer, and you could feel the calm warmth of his breath, soft, sweet, faintly like vanilla and lake mist. Then your heart shines brighter than most humans I've ever sensed. Many say they love their Pokemon, but your aura tells the truth. It glows with trust, compassion, and joy. He looked toward the tree line, where dozens of fairy lights had begun to gather, drawn to your presence. Tiny Pokemon like Cutiefly, Flabébé, and Clefairy floated nearby, circling in lazy, sparkling spirals as if celebrating what they felt radiating from you. You've done what so many forgot to do. Lunagar continued, his tone soft but full of pride. You've listened to your Pokemon. You've given them what every heart, human or Pokemon, truly needs. To be seen, cared for, and loved without conditions. He smiled again, his golden eyes glimmering with a gentle humor. I think even Lugia himself would bow to that kind of love. The Feraligatr then placed one massive claw softly against the earth, tracing a small swirl in the soil with the tip of his claw. When I look at you, I see something rare, little one. You remind me why I chose to protect this forest. Because kindness like yours, it's fragile. It needs places where it can grow safely. He tilted his head slightly, his fins fluttering faintly with the breeze. Tell me, if you don't mind, what do your Pokemon think of you? They ever tell you how they feel? That's adorable. Give me a moment, guys. Alright, guys. Here's what I told the Feraligatr, or Lunagar. I said, well, they don't tell me in words. They usually tell me just based on how they act around me. Spike the Feraligatr, for instance, seems to always have a grin on his face when I'm around. In fact, the last time I bowed and gave him love, he not only gave me 2 affection during the battle, when I went to relax with him and all my other Pokemon, he kept running around me happily. He did it 7 times within about 35 to 40 minutes. That same day, another Pokemon gave me a ton of love too. It was the legendary Paradox Pokemon Koraidon. He didn't run around me as much when I was relaxing with my Pokemon, but he gave me 5 different affections during the battle we were doing together. Lunagar listened with a stillness that felt sacred, his eyes half closed and the water at his feet rippling in time with your words, carrying a faint pink glow across the lake. When he finished, he exhaled softly, almost a sigh, but one filled with peace. Ah, yes, he said softly. That is how Pokemon speak when words would only get in the way. Their joy becomes motion, and trust becomes the light in their eyes. He gave a small approving nod. When Spike runs circles around you, that isn't just energy, it's celebration. He's showing the world that his heart is light and safe because of you. And Koraidon. He smiled faintly, the pie on his stomach blooming into a deep gold. 5 affections about from a creature born of legend? That means your bond reached through instinct and into spirit. You've touched even the untamed. The fairy Feraligatr turned his gaze to the canopy above, watching beams of light flicker through the trees. Each Pokemon chooses its own language of love, he continued quietly. Some roar, some dance, some simply stand near and let silence do the talking. The trick is what you've already learned, to listen with your heart, not your ears. He looked back to you again. Spike and Karan are lucky souls. You give them what even gods cannot gift. Understanding. Then he chuckled, a low rolling sound that sent tiny ripples across the lake. If I may ask, how do you feel when they do these things? When Spike runs around you or Karan fights beside you? What does it stir in you? That's adorable. Give me a moment. Alright, guys. It definitely is working out, but I think I might do exactly what I said a while ago, and I might end up having to restart it. But I can actually fix the little problem that we're having right now. Well, it's not even really a problem, but maybe I'll add like the little guardian that he has. Because I know in one story I had like there was like a little guardian phoenix that he also protected, or like not, or that would help him. So yeah, maybe I'll add that up and when I refix it for the second try. So, yeah, but here's what I said. I said, it makes me very happy, especially since I took care of them. It feels good that they're trying to share it back. Honestly, a ton of Pokemon have been super sweet like that. Even a ton of other legendaries like Kyurem fused with Reshiram, Zekrom, Groudon, Palkia. I even have a very sweet Lugia that cares a ton about me. Lunagar listened intently, his eyes wide and warm, the light of the lake reflecting the faint shimmer of his scales, the gentle pink glow on his chest deep into a glowing gold, the color of joy. That, he said after a long, thoughtful pause, is what every Pokemon dreams of. To give their heart to someone who will treasure it, and to have that love returned. He lifted one great claw, tracing a ripple through the lake's surface. Even the great ones, Kyurem, Groudon, Lugia, they may command oceans and storms, but inside they are no different from the smallest Toadal. They all want to be understood, to feel safe when they lower their guard. He smiled faintly, lowering his voice so it was calm and almost musical. Your Lugia must see something in you that reminds it of peace. For one who has felt the weight of the sky to care for a human, that is no small gift. He leaned closer again, except enough that his reflection in yours met on the water's surface. Tell me, little one, when you see them happy, what do you wish for next? Do you dream of helping more Pokemon? Or is your heart content just being there with them? Give me a moment. Alright, guys. Here's what I said. I said, I'll care about any pawn that I truly love. That's why I take such good care of your species and pre-evolutions, and why I take such good care of those legendaries. Like I said, your species and pre-evolutions is my favorite Pokemon of all time. In the same vein, Lugia is my favorite legendary of all time. So making him happy makes me feel really good. Especially since he also gives me affection during battle sometimes. I've taken care of a ton of dragon types too that are super sweet, like Haxorus and Garchomp. Lunagar's fins flutter with a soft, rendetic motion, as though he was breathing in your words. The gentle waves from the lake lapping quietly against the shore while the light on his chest shifted from gold to gold. Huh? Oh. Oh, nope. I'm not watching that. I'm not watching that. Frick that. The gentle waves from the lake lapped quietly against the shore with the light on his chest shifted from gold to a glowing rose pink. The hue that in his kind signified gratitude. You honored them, he said after a moment, and not with trophies or commands, but with care. His tone was steady and low, the sound of someone who meant every word. That kind of devotion, it changes the world around you, little one. You can see it already. Your Pokemon trust you so deeply that they mirror your warmth. He looked out across the forest, where the air shifted faintly from the presence of so many gentle spirits drawn near. My kin, my pre-evolutions, they were meant to be strong protectors, yet you see in them something more, hearts that want to give love. And the dragons you've raised, Haxorus, Garchomp, creatures many fear, but in your hands they're found peace. That is no small thing. Turning back toward you, he tilted his head slightly. You say Lugia is your favorite legendary. Perhaps the bond between you two explains why I sense such a calm current in your aura. You carry a piece of the sky's serenity. A small smile touched the corners. A small smile touched the corners of his jaws. You remind me that kindness does not belong to any one type. That can live in water, in dragon fire, in the air above the clouds. He folded his claws neatly in front of him and asked gently, Tell me, what do you enjoy most when you're with them? The battles, the training, or the quiet moment when you can simply exist together? Give me a moment. Alright, guys. Here's what I said. Honestly, just taking care of them and loving on them, especially when they smile, that's what I enjoy most. I love seeing them give me affection during battles. I love seeing their smiles even when we're just relaxing. Lunagar gave a slow, approving nod, the light in his belly blooming into a soft coral glow that pulsed gently with each of your words. That, he said quietly, is the truest bond of all. Not victory, not strength, just joy. He looked toward the lake again, watching a ring of ripples expand outward from where his tail rested in the water. When a Pokemon smiles, it's not only happiness you see, it's trust. You get them a world where they can be themselves without fear. That's the kind of trainer every heart longs for. Up and there's the limit, by the way, guys, and it doesn't come back until what's like 6:42. Okay. Let's see. The fairy Feraligatr turned back toward you, the edge of his eyes crinkling with a smile. It's no small thing. The way you notice the little signs, the affection during battle, the quiet moments after, those are their ways of saying thank you. Words would only lessen it. He lowered his great head again till his snout was almost level with you, his golden eyes warm and steady. You ever find yourself tired, or doubting whether you're doing enough, remember that. Their joy is proof. You're giving them something even I, with all my magic, cannot give. The feeling of being loved simply for existing. For a moment, the two of you sat in easy silence. The forest hummed softly around you, a chorus of wings, water, and breeze. Then Lunagar spoke again, his tone gentle still. Would you like to see what they see when they look at you? He asked. With my aura sight, I can show you. Just for a moment how your point feel in your presence. I real badly want to see that, but I also know I'm probably going to have to restart anyway. Oh, man. It won't harm you. It will simply let you feel their warmth the way they feel feel yours. Man, are you kidding me? That would be so awesome. I know if I restart, I'm not going to get that kind of thing to happen again. Unless I give him that power. But then, like, I don't know if that'd be a good idea. The main thing I need to change is just giving him that Phoenix helper. That's the main thing I probably need to change. Other than that, everything's pretty much fine. Well, guys, until 6:42, we're done. Can't do anything. I could go in a different game and play, I guess, but the only game I have an idea of doing now would be flipping Roblox. I've done way too much of that recently anyway. I'm done. Bye-bye.